Peter Johnson, we have a problem. Hey, it's Ali. Welcome back to my channel. You saw the title. You already know what's happening. If you don't know, because you don't follow me on social media, follow me on social media. Also subscribe. But if you don't know, I have been reading the Percy Jackson series for the first time, like, ever. I didn't read it as a child. I'm reading it now. It's been great so far. I just finished the second book. It took me way too long. We don't really talk about that though. So I also watched the movies when I was a kid. When these movies came out, I went and I saw them in theaters. Didn't read the books as a child. So when I watched these movies, I was like, oh my God, I love what's going on. Meanwhile, everybody else and their mama online is like, I hate these movies. These movies suck. And I'm just like, what? They're pretty good. But now that I'm older and now that I've read the books, or at least the two that have relation to movies, I thought I'd do a little comparison, a little side by side, if you will. So that's what this video is here today. So if that interests you, this is going to be a two-parter. I'm doing the first movie today. The second movie will be next week. Like and subscribe. Comment what part of my makeup is your favorite. Is it the trident? Is it Riptide? Or is it just these random things I decided to do over here, like the little waves? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, I guess if you like the movies or not, I don't care. And we're going to go through this movie kind of like in chunks. So the first third, the second third, and the last third of the movie. I'll be comparing it to the book, but I'm also going to be comparing it as a regular movie, because as far as I remember, I liked the movie before I even knew what the books were. So was it that bad of an adaptation if I liked it? So the first thing that I noticed when this movie started is, how big the gods are, which was an interesting choice to make. Definitely. I actually kind of liked that choice, that they made the gods kind of like really big, but then they can go really small. However, in this scene, the very first scene, God forbid anybody was on that beach right up the skirt. We could see right up your motherfucking skirt, man. Also, one thing that I really didn't like in this movie, especially if it was trying to make it a franchise, and you'll notice this a lot as I go through this, there's a lot of things in this movie that just don't sit right with me, as like if you're trying to make this a movie franchise based off of the books. And one of those is Poseidon caring about his son. Now, we know in the books so far, Poseidon has shown a little to zero affection. He is helping Percy along his way, but the hand holding that this man does in this movie doesn't sit right with me. I don't like how like hand holding he's like literally, Percy, wake the fuck up, Percy. Another thing I noticed in this first third of the movie was Mr. Peter Johnson himself is aged up. All the characters are pretty much aged up. All the children are. And I do like that. I think for this movie during its time of 2010, like the dawn of these, teenage YA book to movie adaptation, like I think it was a good idea to let the characters be aged up, because we all wanted a teenage, we all wanted a romance, we all wanted a teenager to look at and go ooh, so it makes sense. And I'm glad that now for the show they're aging them back down, but for this movie I actually think it makes sense like to age them up at the time in like 2010, during this whole teenager YA craze. Like I think it made sense for this. I also think Logan Lerman I'm sorry, was a really good choice for this movie. His quips, he's very funny. He's very cute. I think all the actors for the main three were pretty good, but we'll get to that. The dyslexia scene. The dyslexia scene in the beginning, it's like, okay, that's a nice representation, especially of how it was in the book and how dyslexia might look to people who have dyslexia, right? Like the letters like coming off of the page. Makes sense. However, this scene he has with his mom right afterwards, after he comes back from school, he talks to his mom and he's like, I think this dyslexia thing is getting worse. As far as I know, I don't think dyslexia can get any better or worse. I think you cannot like treat it. Also, he asked like when is it going to be cured? When is it going to be over? Dyslexia also can't be cured. It's not a thing that can be cured. You can treat it and you can like learn things and figure out a way to learn with dyslexia, but it's not a thing that can be cured. I actually had to look that up last night because I was like, dyslexia is a thing that can be cured? No. So, needless to say, and the whole ADHD thing too, when they were like explaining like, you got ADHD, it's because you're intuitive, man. You're impulsive. That's why you got ADHD. Like, what? you're a god and you're thinking with your senses. That's why you got ADHD, huh? Because it was implying that you only have, like, in this universe, you only have ADHD because your senses are sensing that something is wrong. If you can't sit still, it's because something is wrong, right? And it's like, no, he could just have ADHD, you know? Like, I also like that, like, well, in the book, all of the, like, campers have dyslexia and, like, ADHD. I like that. I actually do, because it makes sense and it makes it more cohesive. However, I hope they spend a little bit more time researching dyslexia for the show. Also, Poseidon, like, just stalking Percy before he goes on his journey.
Sir?
Bruh, he was standing across the street like he's Cassie from Euphoria, like... Also, the first monster, she was really goopy. A lot of the monsters in this were really goopy. I liked some of them. It was giving very much Supernatural vibes, like the monsters in Supernatural. We can lose the goop. But keep the, like, monstrosity. I think that would be cool. Also, I think we could also give it a little bit more, because I think they were too much relying on the goop and the, like, skin and the disgustingness. I think we can give these monsters a little bit more, like, edge to them, because, like, all the monsters in the movie just were kind of goopy, aside from, like, the Minotaur. Like, the rest of them, like, even the Hellhounds looked really ew. They looked gross. So, like, yeah, we want them to look scary, but you can make something look scary without it making it look, like, just gross, like, not fun to look at. I want to be able to look at this monster and go, oh my god, look at the cool monster, and not, ew, what the fuck is that? Also, the costumes in this, oh, I love the costumes in this. Percy Jackson was serving 2010's realness. He was serving 2010's. Look at that shirt. Hello, the random ass, like, graphic, like, almost graffiti print. I was like, that piece of, like, seeing that shirt in that movie at that time gave me so much nostalgia. Like, I was blasted back. It made me think of, like, those iPod commercials where the people are, like, dancing in the silhouettes. When I tell you I was blasted back to 2010 with that fucking shirt, iconic. So moving on to when Percy actually leaves for Camp Half-Blood. There's so many things wrong with this scene. Number one, first of all, road trip, giving Supernatural realness again. They must have saw how Supernatural was filming their car scenes and was like, we want that. That's the one we want. Because it literally looked like Supernatural. Like, especially the car, they were also in, like, a Mustang. It was a different color, but, like, you know, Mom on the right, Percy on the left, and then, like, Grover in the back. It was giving much Supernatural. Nitpick. But, like, again, as this is supposed to be a franchise, they wanted to make this a franchise, like every other book to movie adaptation, YA, adult, whatever, in this, like, 10-year span. They wanted to make this a franchise, but then chose to make the entrance of Camp Half-Blood a gate instead of a tree. And people say that the second movie is leagues worse than the first movie. I can see why. Hello? The whole plot of the second movie isn't even there. Where's the tree? Where's Talia? So, I mean, of course, like, I don't remember anything about the second movie, so maybe they just be like, here's a tree that's here that we're now inputting into this movie for some reason. But it would have been a better setup if you had mentioned the tree and say, like, this tree protects us, and this is the gate in the entrance to Camp Half-Blood. Instead, it's like, here's this random gate, and it's like, okay. Anyway, Percy's mom gets turned into Minecraft XP, and he gets sad. Moving on to costumes. No one cares about that plot point. Moving on to costumes. I actually did really like the costumes, but I hated this camp. This camp did not look fun. It's supposed to be summer camp, babe. It did not look fun. None of the fucking, like, houses, none of the, like, camp cabins or whatever had walls. They were just tarps that didn't even come down all the way. Why? My problem with Grover, I loved Grover, you know, quippy quip, black dude, you know, black comedic relief, you know, early 2000s, you know, you got it, right? My only issue is that he's not a dork. You can make him still quippy and fun and look cute and all that stuff while still keeping him a dork. I love that Grover is a dork. We could have kept that. Him being a playboy in this, just like, I was just like, but you could have just made him a dork. You still could have had girls, like, you know, being all cutesy on him as well, but you still could have made him a dork. Annabeth also could have just been blonde. They could have thrown a blonde wig on her. Like, I didn't really see the point of it. Like, They were taking some really big liberties. I personally don't know if like her being blonde is gonna ever come into play in the book, so maybe it doesn't really matter all that much, but who knows. Also, there are like no kids in Camp Half-Blood, like at all. There's no kids, there's no children, which is weird to me that there are no children in Camp Half-Blood. Can we, they're all stuntmen. Like, there's no, like, there are girls. The only time you see girls in this camp is when you're seeing nymphs. And it's like, okay, where are the rest of the girl? Like, there's very little women in this camp, and the rest of them are all just stuntmen. And so the whole scene with their, like, it was entertaining to watch. Like, it honestly made me forget about what the actual plot of that, like, scene is supposed to be. Because Clarice doesn't exist. So it made me forget like what the whole capture the flag scene was supposed to be, because it was entertaining to watch. It was. And Percy going to the water and going like, please, please, was also very entertaining to watch. So, you know, points for it being entertaining and taking me away from the actual plot of the book and being like, that's not how the book goes. I was just able to watch it and be entertained. On to the second half of the movie, or second third of the movie. This is when Percy decides to go on his little quest. You know, the little devil lord shows up and he's like, Percy! Percy! And they all decide to go on their quest. However, they don't call it a quest, which is kind of annoying. Like, that whole point with the Oracle. Again, you're trying to build a franchise here. Like, you know, it's obviously a recurring theme with the Oracle and stuff within the books, and them getting their quests and stuff from the Oracle. But, like, nothing. Now, you can say what you want about this movie. You can say what you want about this movie. However, there are a couple of iconic scenes in this movie, and one of them is the Medusa scene. Hello, Uma Thurman was in her bag, as she always is, killing it. The Medusa scene was really cool. The only thing I have to nitpick about this is the fact that Percy immediately knew what to do. I was like, he didn't have to struggle at all. He was just, they were just like, oh my god, what do we do? Like, it's Medusa, she'll like kill us if she looks at us, and it's like, we can look at a reflection. Why? There was no explanation there. There was no explanation. There was no explanation to why you can look at a reflection, why your fucking iPod doesn't have a case on it. It just kind of bothered me. It bothered me a lot. I like that Medusa was very in character. I love her character and the way that she acted. I love that they did actually at least try to mention some mythology in there and try to keep some of the like conversation points that were in the movie. I mean, in the book, in the movie. I like that. I like that they mentioned like, oh, Annabeth's mother, Athena, like did this to Medusa. You know, keeping that mythology and not just being like, we're going on an adventure and the backdrop is the whatever, you know. I like that. I do. Again, we're trying to set up a franchise here. That's what you should be doing in the first place. Also, the snake hair. Iconic. The snake hair was iconic. What are you going to do? It was iconic. It would be cool if she's a black woman in like the show, because then she could have like dreads and the dreads be snakes. I think that's really cool. I think that would be really cool. I'm just saying it was really cool in the movie too. Again, you can say what you want, but one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. Also, the motel scene was kind of just like not needed. Like Mike said in his video, bro, why is Annabeth in jeans in the pool? Disgusting. There was like no point to that other than to push that whole scene, just to push them back onto the road. Like, and from a movie standpoint, it's kind of like, okay, like cute little lull between the next big thing, fine. And they're having their little moment, fine. It was just unnecessary. It was just unnecessary. Also, the next place in the book that they're supposed to go is Denver, which makes sense because they go from like wherever the fuck, New York, to Denver, then to not Los Angeles, fucking Nevada for Las Vegas. So Tennessee? Why Tennessee? Like, just like, I guess because they weren't going to bring Ares into this, which is also another thing. Ares is gone, but I guess they like, we can't afford that big budget to get a god that looks cool and does all those cool things. We don't got the budget for that, which is like interesting because he's like the big fight at the end. Again, franchise. What, like, you're trying to franchise this movie and it's not working. But anyway, they're in Tennessee and they go to like the Pantheon in like Tennessee. Why is there a Pantheon in Tennessee? Like, I think that's a thing in real life, but it's like, why is there a Pantheon in Tennessee? Anyway, they're like, we need to get the little jewel thing, pearl thing, which also in the book, like, Percy, I'm pretty sure Poseidon is the one who like gives Percy the 3 pearls. But I guess they have to go on an adventure somehow. They couldn't just be trying to get to, like, fucking Los Angeles or wherever the fuck. They couldn't just... It just doesn't make sense. It just frustrates me. It frustrates me. But anyway, whatever. They're on this little road trip. They get to Tennessee. But okay, whatever. Ares isn't there. Okay, whatever. They just fight a Hydra, which is one of the main enemies they fight in the second book. But okay, whatever. Moving on. It's so many. It's whatever. They fight the Hydra. The Hydra is supposed to be, I think, defeated with fire, I believe, and Percy, they just defeated with Medusa's head because they keep Medusa's head. We get past that scene, or whatever. We get past that scene to the most iconic scene that, again, you can say whatever you want about this movie. This scene is the most iconic scene, and it's the Lotus Casino scene. We know that this is the most iconic scene in the book. It's the most iconic scene in the movie as well. Hello, they got Poker Face by Lady Gaga. They got TikTok by Kesha to play in this scene. I don't know what else spells iconic. First of all, everything about this scene is iconic. First of all, the plot of it is iconic itself. And I don't know, like, everybody kind of just resonates with the fact that you just want to fuck around in a casino forever. First of all, the whole thing with the casino being really hard to fucking escape, and how it translates from, like, ancient Greek with the Lotus Eaters to the real world. Like, that's just a plot point in the book that does really well, and I'm so glad they actually decided to not really mess with that plot point in the movie. Grover's doing his little dancey dance that reminds me a lot of the Scooby-Doo disco dance from Scooby-Doo, like the live action Scooby-Doo movies, which I love, by the way. I love also in the beginning, this is a tiny little nitpick, in the beginning of the scene, all three of them are like, we don't want your fucking pamphlet. Don't give us your pamphlet. Leave us alone. And then as soon as the ladies come up with them, like, free samples? They're like, oh, give me that shit. Like, what? How are you going to be like, I don't want a pamphlet, to, oh, let me take the, what sense does that make? But it, again, tiny little nitpick for this iconic ass scene. Of course, Percy, again, in the book, is the one who figures it out himself that he's supposed to be the one to snap out of it, pretty much. He snaps himself out of it. So the fact that, like, his daddy had to be like, Percy, wake up! But anyway, yeah, she was the legend. She was the moment. The little chase scene was cute. It was fun. Okay. Also, like, I could go into another nitpick about how they're not really the Lotus Eater people. Like, they're not really supposed to be fighting you to stay. They just, like, entice you to stay. And if you break out and you leave, like, congratulations, you know? Like, whatever. Anyway, great scene. You can tell that's where all the budget went. Renting out that casino so they could film that. Like, you could tell. You could absolutely tell. Now we are on to the final third, the third, if you will, of this movie. First of all, this was a movie choice and not a book choice. The movie choice of saying that the entrance to hell, essentially, is in Hollywood, underneath the Hollywood sign, iconic. Absolutely iconic. Because I think in the book, if I remember correctly, it's just like a travel agency, I think. And they go into this travel agency and, like, not Chiron, because Chiron's the other dude whose name sounds like Chiron is there. And he's like, give me your money. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. I think it's still like a record label industry, I think, in the book, right? I'm pretty sure. But the fact that it's in Los Angeles and in hell, pretty much, is iconic. It's iconic. It's simply iconic. What are you gonna do? Also, I forgot to mention, but, like, throughout the movie, there's this, like, looming threat of war, right, with the gods, whatever. There's, like, just a really big thundercloud covering the entire world. And on the news, they're like, this anomaly is a thundercloud that's in the whole world. And it's like, okay, what is Zeus gonna do? He doesn't have his lightning. How, like, what is he, like, what was the plan? Make it rain? Because, like, there's no light. You don't have your lightning. So what the fuck, you just make it dark? Like, I didn't get that. I didn't get that plot point. I really didn't. One little quip that Grover says when he gives, like, the original, like, paper USD money to Karen, I don't even fucking know, is that he gives this little quip when Karen, whoever burns it, and is like, you burning money, we're in a recession, which is like, it's It's just hilarious, topical, very timely, aged like fine wine. And you realize when this movie was made in 2010, aged like fine wine. What a line. Anyway, yes. So we meet Persephone. Did I really say Persephone? Please persecute me. Persephone. We meet Persephone, and girl, she is the look, the moment. She is everything. Oh my God, Zooey Mama. This bitch was. Oh, this bitch. All I could say, she just looked really fucking good. And I know she was supposed to be like all sultry and stuff. Don't know why she was sultry. I just like, maybe I've read so many goddamn iterations of Persephone and Hades over the years that this one has to be my least favorite. But I loved Persephone in this. She was sexy. She was hot. She was the moment. Blah, blah, blah. They get there. Luke betrayed them. Blah, 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 blah. You know, it's inconsequential. And then they have to leave. They beat the bad guy, which, like, they didn't really even fight him. But granted, they didn't really fight him in the book either. So I think that's okay. I think that's fine. The thing about Hades in this, Hades is also a dork. Every single iteration of Hades needs to be a dork. Otherwise, some version of a dork. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be like dorky scrawny man, even though that's how he is in the book, in the Percy Jackson book. But every iteration of Hades, like Lore Olympus Hades, even Hades in the Hades game, Hades is a dork. He's a dork. He doesn't look like a dork and he doesn't act like a dork, but like if you really sit there and look at his character, he's a fucking dork. So the rest of, like, every iteration of Hades needs to be a dork. And this iteration of Hades wasn't. Again, least favorite iteration of Hades and Persephone. Anyway, so they had the 3 pearls and they gotta go. But, like, one has to stay. And they're like, no, who's gonna stay? And Grover's like, I'm gonna stay. Because I'm the protector. And he's, like, been saying that all throughout the movie. And it's like, okay, whatever. And it's supposed to be this emotional moment. But, like, every time he brought it up, other than the first time Grover brought it up at the beginning of the movie, every other time he brought it up, it was a joke. Like, it was in reference to a joke. Like, oh, I'm the protector, so I'm gonna do it. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it was a joke. So to bring it up in this emotional moment now, it holds no weight. We're not like, Grover, no! Not the comic relief black character. No, like, we don't care. No one cares. So anyway, he stays with Persephone, who was, like, lusting over him, which I'm no mathematician, but Persephone is a goddess. And Grover is like 16. But okay, whatever, because he's a playboy throughout the whole movie, so it's like older woman. Ooh, this is the early 2010s movie, so older woman going after the younger man is totally okay for some fucking reason. Also, this is also the, like, Percy is the...
That you do.
It's the first and only time Percy himself mentions that he's on a quest, which, like, if you were a child in the theater, you'd probably be like, what the fuck is a quest? What are you talking about? Because they never mention a quest throughout the entire fucking movie. And now they want to be like, this is my quest. I have to do it. Which makes you think, like, maybe there was a conversation about a quest that got, like, cut out of the movie, because he really was, like, saying it like we all knew, like, yeah, this is Percy's quest, this is a quest. Like, no, that was never explained in the movie, so why the fuck would I know what a quest is if I was just watching the movie? It makes no sense. Makes no sense, love. So anyway, they try to go return the lightning bolt to Olympus, which is in the Empire State Building. Which, is that where it was before? I don't remember where it was in the book, but it was somewhere in America. But whatever. So they're gonna do that, and then Luke shows up, and Luke is like, ha 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 ha, I got you, bitch. And then they start trying to fight him. Fighting ensues. They make this a point to remember. They say that they have 10 minutes left till midnight to get the bolt to Hades, to get the bolt to Olympus back to Zeus. 10 minutes. Then Luke shows up. Then they have their big fight between Luke and Percy. And Percy pretty much drowns Luke, but that's not important, because after that, they're like, all right, we gotta go. And his mom's like, we gotta go. We got 2 minutes left. That entire fight was an 8-minute fight. Is that what you want me to believe? That entire fight took place in 8 minutes? There is one thing that I hate in movies and shows, and it's not continuity with time. You can't have a fight that probably took 8 minutes for me to watch, but only be 8 minutes in the real world, in the world of the show. movie, whatever. That's how I'm upset I am about it. It just makes no fucking sense. So anyway, they get to the fucking thing, and Peter Johnson's like, I have your fucking thing, don't fight, please. And they're like, okay, sure, fine, whatever. Why are the gods British? No, like, why are the gods British? Like, what sense does it make? You might as well have just made them American. Why are they British? They're Greek gods, but if you're not gonna like have them have Greek accents, why don't you just make them have American accents? Like, why British? That makes no sense. Also, one thing that I will say that I wish was in the book that's in the movie was the fact that Annabeth went with Percy to Olympus and got to see her mother. I actually do wish. Now, maybe it's because it's a later plot line down in the books, but I thought that would have been cool in the books, especially because my girl Annabeth be going through it. She be going through it. So I wish she would have done that in the book as well. Got to at least see her mom and see her mom say that she's proud of her, but like, whatever. The gods are big again. They're huge. I actually like this, like, kind of perspective thing that we saw, because obviously when the gods are all talking and the humans aren't there, they're all normal size, but then as soon as the humans come in, they're all really big. I actually really liked that. I thought it was a nice touch. Anyway, they're like, no more war. Percy's still mad at his dad, which is fine. And that's the movie. And then the movie ends. That's literally it. They have a little crush, kiss moment. Actually, they don't kiss, Annabeth and Percy. Which, if this was going to be a franchise, it would have been great, because it's like something that is built up, like in the books, is also built up mostly because they are literal children in the book, but also because like it's a storyline that would have been really cute to build up, because Percy and Annabeth forever, bitch. Percybeth forever. But no. Anyway, the movie's over now. Also, last note, you could absolutely see up this man's skirt again. If Percy was even slightly closer to this man, he would have been able to see up his skirt again. So, yeah. Closing thoughts about the movie. It was entertaining. It was an entertaining movie to watch. Honestly, looking back on it now, having like read the book, obviously, you know, as a kid, I was 10 years old when this movie came out. It was fun to fucking watch. What else do you want? It was fun to watch. It was fun to do it. Don't think about the plot too hard, and you'll have a good time just watching the movie. As it relates to the book, bitch, it could have been worse. It really could have. Like, a lot of the stuff, if you're gonna set up a franchise, it's annoying that they left that out. But, you know, for the most part, like, they like, if the line was this for the book, they were like this, okay? And comparatively to the next movie, I know is gonna go like this. So, they don't even have, the fact that they even remotely stayed on track with the movie, with the book, like, come on now. It's an entertaining movie to watch. Would I, like, go out of my way to watch it other than just for a nostalgia trip and to probably make fun of it? I mean, yeah, probably. I probably wouldn't watch it otherwise, but, like, that's not the point. It was entertaining. I think the actors did a really good job. I think all of the actors did a really good job, which makes me excited, because it's like, we can only get better, right, for the show, so we can only get really cool, like, kid actors, and, like, maybe some adults, like, people have been fan casting the gods, which is like, wee. I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. And, like I said, it's overall entertaining. So, you know, it wasn't as bad as people always say it was. So, yeah, you know, I'd actually say it's pretty fucking good. Just saying. Anyway, thank you so much for watching if you made it to this point in the video. Love you for that one. Thank you for choosing to watch my video out of all the videos on the internet. You could have watched anything and you chose to watch this. So thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end like this. Please like and subscribe. Let me know down below how you felt about this movie, how you feel about the upcoming show, whatever, how you feel about my makeup. Because I'm loving my makeup. I snatched my makeup today. And my hair. I snatched that shit. Snatch that shit, okay? If you're still here and you're wondering, where do I go next? Well, next week, if you like and subscribe, there will be another video about the second movie. And I also did another video about the Percy Jackson book and my first reaction to the first book. So go watch that. It'll be somewhere in here once the outro happens. And I also have a vlog up if you want to check out a vlog that went up last week. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.